Whether a beginner importer or an experienced businessman, it is the dream of a gazillion entrepreneurs worldwide to make significant and sustainable profits by importing from China. In theory, it is easy to do this. You pick a product, buy it cheap from a Chinese factory, bring it to the market, perfect your marketing and branding, and then watch the dollars roll in. But as many of you who have tried to import from China know, that is much easier said than done. Besides the marketing and branding challenges you need to deal with, there are countless challenges you have to overcome as an importer. The information presented in this video summarizes what I have learned from my importing business and from helping dozens of importers realize their businesses over the years. In that time, not only have I refined our in-house methods to import from China, but I have also had a front seat view on what works and what doesn't from our client's perspective. Alright my friend, if you want to learn how to import from China, let's get started. Why import from China when it is more accessible to source products from local suppliers and distributors? I will share 3 reasons why China is still the best option for most products. Price. Even when factoring in shipping, quality control, and import duties, the saving from purchasing from a Chinese manufacturer is anywhere from 30% to 150% for most products, compared with manufacturing in the West or buying from your local distributor. Flexibility. Chinese factories are generally more cooperative and set lower minimum order quantities for mass production, and they have greater expertise with tooling and molding and can produce in larger volumes than locally. China's competitive advantage. China's labor costs are more expensive than low-middle income countries in Southeast Asia. Still, China's other advantages such as developed infrastructure, established component and raw material supply chains, skilled workforce make up for it. Apple CEO Tim Cook explains it best. There is confusion about China. The popular conception is that companies come to China because of its low labor costs. I am not sure what part of China they go to, but the truth is China stopped being a low labor cost country many years ago, and that is not the reason to come to China from a supply point of view. The reason is the skill, the quantity of talent in one location, and the skill type. So, for all those reasons, China is still one of the best options for most products. Next, I will discuss the right product to import from China. See you there. Good product selection is crucial for success when importing from China, but it is less important than you imagine. Of course, you should consider your budget and the overall market conditions for the product. But apart from that, you can enter any market and succeed if you have the right strategy and enough capital to invest. I will share 10 key principles for product selection that I have learned through helping dozens of businesses to import products from China. The businesses that succeeded followed many of the principles that I will mention, so guys, keep watching. Principle number 1. The best thing you can do is build a brand and brand story around a product. People connect with brands and their stories and do not connect with commoditized products that compete on price. Building a brand and creating a brand story will make longevity in your business. I read in a study recently that most people are willing to pay 20% more when buying products and brands they know and can relate to with their stories. Many well-known brands like Microsoft are now recruiting professional storytellers under new job descriptions, like GCO. They try hard to make their stories stronger. I plan to make a video soon about storytelling and how you can use it in your work. What do you think? Should I prepare? I'm waiting for your comments. Principle number 2. Avoid fat products. Fat products have a short life cycle which makes it challenging to build a brand around the product. The novelty fades. As I mentioned, focus on building a brand that you can scale and bring sustainable profit margins. Another point to note when you import from China is that fat products are new on the market and quality problems typically haven't been fully resolved. For instance, hoverboards were recalled due to the dangerous batteries. Principle number 3. Have at least one unique selling point. You need a point of difference for your product to be successful when importing from China. Still, that POD doesn't doesn't need to be significant. It can be as simple as a logo that separates your brand from the crowd, a unique color scheme, better marketing photos, or a fantastic unboxing experience. Please keep it simple. Focus on 1 or 2 PODs to begin with it. Then as you grow, you can start planning and implementing incremental improvements that will separate your product and brand from the competition. Principle number 4. Don't sell products that you hate. Are you interested in the product? You don't need to be super passionate about a product for it to be successful. But for instance, if you hate yoga, I highly doubt you will be capable of selling and marketing yoga accessories. Principle number 5. Ignore experts who make claims about 10x profit margins. The average net profit margins for e-commerce businesses importing from China is around 20 to 30%. So ignore experts that claim that you should be earning 10x profit margins on buying price from the factory. By doing so, you will scrap great product ideas from your list. Principle number 6. Investigate the sales volumes of a product through Jungle Scout. Suppose you are interested in selling products on Amazon. In that case, you can use Jungle Scout's product research tool to pull historical monthly sales data. Ideally, you want a minimum of 2,000 sales per month for that product. Also, investigate seasonality and how that may impact your sales. I put the link in the description so that you can check it out. Principle number 7. Remember that bulky products are expensive to warehouse and deliver. Consider warehousing and delivery costs. Suppose you are looking at flatbed furniture, for instance. In that case, you must factor in the warehousing prices and deliver the product to your customer. I can't entirely agree with common advice that you shouldn't import any bigger product than a shoebox. It all depends on your circumstances if you have warehouse space and capital to throw into the business. Bulky products might be your best option. Principle number 8. Avoid products that retail for below $15. In the early stages, avoid cheap products that retail for below $15. There are a couple of reasons for this. Firstly, it is easier to mistake forecasting net profit margins when working out your landed costs for products that retail for less than $15. Second is the cost of running pay-per-click ads on Google and Amazon marketing, which you will need to do if you are interested in an e-commerce business. It is on average 81 cents per click for Amazon and between 40 cents to $2 on Google. For a cheap product, PPC ads will make a significant percentage of your overall costs, which is not ideal. Principle number 9. Pay attention to product safety. Avoid importing unsafe products. Product recalls and product liability can ruin your business. For example, as mentioned, over 500,000 hoverboards were recalled across the US due to the dangerous batteries, which wipe out many importers. Principle number 10. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good. I see too many businesses bite off more than they can chew at the early stage and end up getting nowhere. It would be best if you had a roadmap for design improvements, customizations, and added product features. Still, you don't need to get this sorted before your first order. I would also suggest that you stick to 1 or 2 products to begin with and do them well. Then you can build out your product lines as your business grows. Don't try to do everything at once. Okay, my friends, I will show you product sourcing from China in the next chapter. Then keep watching. See you. In this section, I will explain step by step what you should do when sourcing products from China. Let's get started. Step 1. Create your product specs. Before starting product sourcing, you need to sort out your product specifications. Jumping head first into sourcing without defining your product specifications is amateur importers' biggest mistake. It causes all sorts of problems. Your spec sheet includes at a minimum product description, the specific materials for the product dimensions, product colors, testing requirements for your market, label specifications and requirements, packaging specifications. Alright, my friend, let me explain why do you need to define your product specs. Suppose you don't know your product specifications, packaging and labeling requirements, the compliance requirements to sell into your country, and the quality demands of your market. In that case, it is taught to determine which manufacturer is proper for you, making it extremely complex to import from China. Basing your purchasing decision solely on price and how the salesperson at the factory makes you feel is a recipe for disaster. Remember that whenever you are verifying suppliers and analyzing costs, you need to be comparing like for like in terms of specifications. Minor differences in materials, type of paint, dimensions, and packaging can have a massive impact on price. Okay, let's look at how do you sort out your product specs. Research your product online, understand your target selling point, and base product quality from that perspective. Get your hands on competitors' products that sell at your target price, and then pull apart their products so you know what components and raw materials they use. Learn from what industry leaders, competitor businesses, and top Amazon sellers in your product category are offering regarding specifications, components, product certifications, and packaging and labeling standards. Read reviews online and see if there are problems with existing products that you can correct so that you are offering a higher quality product. Don't forget product compliance and labeling requirements. Defining specification is a lot of work, but it is crucial first step when purchasing from a Chinese supplier. Step 2. Sourcing the right supplier to import from China. When you import from China, you can source products from the suppliers in two ways. The first is going alone or importing from China directly from the supplier. The second is to use a sourcing company. I will explain various methods of finding the right supplier in China later in this video. Then you keep watching. Step 3. Avoiding the wrong sourcing agent to import from China. Knowing the types of agents to avoid will help you determine the right sourcing agent for your business. I will give you some guidelines that will make your search easier. Check out the sourcing agent's website. Find sourcing agents with websites written in professional and compelling English. Such sites indicate an awareness and willingness to engage with English-speaking companies. They are likely to be easier for you to communicate with too. Hands-on is best for quality control. Avoid sourcing agents who aren't responsible for their quality control checks. If they outsource their quality control, there are more likely to be errors in the process. Seek sensible kickback-free commission rate. If a sourcing agent proposes a 2 to 3% commission, chances are they are creaming of money from their deals. A low commission rate doesn't equate with a reliable business model for a sourcing agent. Credible agents cannot afford to trade with low commission rates. Instead, expect to pay around 10% in commission. In addition, researching a company's reputation via the internet is now relatively straightforward. As a result, corruption is less widespread than previously, but it is still a problem. Third-party outsourcers can also mean more opportunities for corrupt dealing. You will wind up paying more due to the costs from backhanded deals and hidden fees. QualityInspection.org reports that 90% of sourcing agents get kickbacks from companies recommended to their customers. LinkedIn helps you find the perfect sourcing partner. From LinkedIn profiles for sourcing agents that you are researching, here you can investigate further the size, success, and credibility of the companies you are considering. A credible sourcing agent will have a LinkedIn presence. Get it in writing. The sourcing agent should be willing to sign a written agreement covering every step of sourcing process. Don't deal with them if they want to forego a written contract at any stage. Reliability beats novelty every time. Seek out long-term sourcing providers rather than newer companies. The longer a sourcing agent has been successfully trading, the more reliable they are likely to be. Are their customers happy? If a sourcing agent is unwilling to provide testimonials, they are unlikely to provide you with good service. The agent should facilitate testimonial follow-ups, ensuring that the recommendations are legitimate. In addition, research agency reputation for yourself too. Browse the internet for references to sourcing company outside of their website. Find companies outside China willing to share their experience with your proposed sourcing company. Avoid sourcing companies that cannot provide a license and license number. Ensure that the appropriate certification is in place. Chinese sourcing companies' rules are strict in this respect. Experience is everything. Make sure that your sourcing agent is familiar with your line of work. An agent experienced primarily in electrical goods will not be suitable if you want to source clothing, for example. Equally, a clear description of the work you require will help avoid problems too. Step 4. Ask Chinese suppliers for codes. Correctly formatting your email and initial request for code is crucial. It dramatically increases the response rate from factories and will simplify the tracking and evaluation of suppliers. Your email should demonstrate that you are a professional operation and a potential long-term factory customer. Your email should be concise with clear call to action. Your email should use the correct terms for components, raw materials, and testing requirements. Your request for a code should contain a simple product spec sheet as an attachment. Step 5. Creating a list of potential suppliers. Typically, I begin by sourcing 10 to 15 suitable suppliers. I then narrow down the list to the best 3 to 5 suppliers based on price, quality, lead times, factory size, and compliance ability. I suggest focusing your attention on the best 3 to 5 suppliers, as any more than that makes it difficult and expensive to arrange samples and to inspect the factories. Step 6. How to verify your Chinese suppliers. Before choosing which factory will manufacture the goods you will import from China, performing a quality control check on the best suppliers is crucial. When verifying if a supplier is right for you, consider these questions. Question number 1. Can the factory produce my product? Do they have an experience in this product area? Chinese factories tend to say yes to most things. So when you ask a Chinese factory whether they can manufacture a product to your requirements, you rarely get an answer of no. If you have doubts, ask for evidence to back up any claims made by the factory. Question number 2. Are they a trading company or a manufacturer? Trading companies are easy to spot. They are probably a trading company if they sell many goods across different product categories. Question number 3. Can you communicate effectively with the manufacturer? If the factory is terrible with communication, you probably don't want to be dealing with them. Imagine when something goes wrong with an order and you are waiting weeks for an explanation. Question number 4. Where is the factory located? China is a massive country. Suppose you are purchasing furniture from Chongqing, for instance. In that case, you should factor in the extra time and costs needed to deliver your product to the nearest port. You also need to be buying your product from suitable regions. The factory should be close to Shenzhen in almost every instance if you buy electronics. Question number 5. How big is the factory? Working with a factory that cannot manage your order volumes is no point. They will end up outsourcing the production to another factory, often a worse factory. Likewise, if you are buying in small quantities, don't try and buy from a West Chinese factory, as you will not be an important customer for them. Expect to have your order pushed to the back of the line when a big order comes along. Question number 6. Does the factory have the appropriate certifications for my product? Unless you want to pay for the test on your product, always work with a factory that has your required test certifications. A word of caution, many factories will fake these documents. If unsure, you can email the test reports to whichever firm conducted the test, usually Intertek or SGS, and they will confirm if the reports are fake. Question number 7. What markets does the factory sell into? Factories that make products for the domestic market and markets in the Middle East and Africa tend to produce at lower quality levels. Question number 8. Do they have an export license? It would help if you avoided suppliers that don't have an export license. Question number 9. Is the factory interested in my business? Cross them off the list if they are not interested in your business. Simple. Question number 10. Is their pricing competitive? If their pricing is nowhere near the mark, cross them off the list unless you can back yourself is to negotiate to a workable price point. Question number 11. What are their lead times for mass production? There is often a considerable variance in production lead times between manufacturers. If quick lead times are essential to your business, then factor this into your product sourcing decisions. Step 7. Visit the best 3 suppliers. The best way to verify if a supplier is suitable when importing from China is to visit their factory. By visiting the factory, you can eyeball the equipment, the factory's capacity, the quality of the factory workers, the sample room, and the factory's internal quality control systems. It also allows you to negotiate pricing directly with the factory boss. This step is crucial for established businesses looking to import from China, and you should not skip it. If you cannot afford the time to travel to China, you should plan for a third party to inspect your list of potential suppliers. Step 8. Request a sample before you import from China. At a minimum, I suggest arranging samples from 2 best suppliers from your shortlist before importing from China. Be diligent when you are checking samples from your suppliers. Unfortunately, most people do not care enough about the sample checking process. Pay attention to the look, feel, dimensions, function, performance, and packaging of your product. I would also suggest having more than one person check the samples in case you have missed a key detail. If your product requires mail order packaging, request that any sample sent to you is sent with the proper mail order packaging that will be used on your order. You should then conduct drop tests on the product to ensure the packaging is sturdy enough to handle being transported to your customers. Drop tests are an excellent way for e-commerce sellers that import from China to simulate their package mailing and identify future potential issues. Suppose the factory they cannot match your requirements. In that case, the factory is probably unsuitable unless you are willing to compromise on your needs. A couple of side points: it is common to have samples redone and redeveloped to reach your desired outcome. Don't write off a factory too quickly if the first sample is not perfect. If you are developing a new product and samples are expensive to produce, it might be impractical to arrange samples from 2 suppliers. Instead, please focus on the best supplier and place a sample with them. Alright my friend, in the next chapter I will share best ways to import from China. See you there. When importing from China, there are 3 main ways to import your products. Using a professional sourcing company, where a whole team of experienced on-the-ground staff can communicate and negotiate face-to-face with suppliers. Oversee each import stage and perform quality control checks. Importing directly from the supplier. Using websites and platforms such as Alibaba and Tendata to speak with factories and mainly through online communication. Using a buying agent. Usually working with a one person or a group to assist in importing goods. Each of these ways of importing from China has its advantages and disadvantages. So guys, let's look at one by one. Importing with a professional sourcing company. The final way to import from China is by using a professional sourcing company, also known as buying office. The difference between a sourcing agent and a professional buying office is that there is a defined process and a team of experienced staff ensuring quality sourcing for each importer. The team follows the same process so all the steps are done correctly, reducing an importer's risk. Within the import process, the staff must obtain a minimum number of quotes from potential suppliers and give a sourcing report to show why the shortlisted suppliers have been chosen. These suppliers should be found through various sources, including the buying office's database of trusted suppliers. From factory audits to signing of samples, a professional sourcing company has a quality team to assess factories and products. Due to the scale of manufacturers the buying office already deals with, many audits are already complete, so there is no additional cost to the importer. The quality team follows a set process to sign off samples by checking the product assembly, instruction manual, and packaging. As well as the internal quality team, there should also be a professional, full-time quality control team all over China, readily available to carry out quality control checks in all stages of production. Here, only acceptable quality levels of mass-produced goods are allowed to be shipped to the importer. Buying offices can export under their license, meaning they can negotiate and purchase in the local Chinese currency. So manufacturers do not need to factor in various charges and exchange rate fluctuations, often leading to a better price. Importing directly from China. Importing directly from China as an importer, if done right, can be an advantageous way of doing business. It can be quick and convenient to source products on Alibaba, where the platform provides a range of suppliers in one place. The conversations are usually brief and they can provide their quotes within the same day. Sometimes importers get lucky and find a great supplier for their product. However, Alibaba can be overwhelming. There are thousands and thousands of suppliers to choose from, all selling similar products with different prices. And how can you know which ones are best? For example, you are looking to import sportswear and find a supplier who can produce 5,000 sports leggings and 5,000 sports tops. When your order arrives, it all seems fine and you place another order. As things went so well this time, you want to double the order. But unfortunately, once the 10,000 sports leggings and 10,000 sports tops arrive, they seem entirely different from last time. The stitching is coming away from the seams. The color of the clothes does not match the previous order. So now you have 20,000 sportswear items that cannot be sold. Why does this happen? When choosing a supplier on Alibaba, the companies can be a factory, a trading company, or both. Often these companies are trading companies, so they will outsource the manufacturing to different suppliers. Hence the difference in products each time an order is placed. As an importer sourcing from Chinese manufacturers, you may have little to no experience dealing with Chinese and encounter cultural and language barriers. Unable to have an in-depth conversation with Chinese manufacturers and discuss any challenges in detail can put an importer at risk of receiving low-quality goods. Importing with a buying agent. Often companies importing from China will look for a sourcing agent when they need help with communication or if they are too busy to organize the import. Sourcing agents in China can speak in Chinese with potential suppliers, meaning smoother communication and negotiation. In addition, the Chinese sourcing agent is usually based in China, so they can attend all trade shows and access sourcing websites in the native language. In theory, agents are supposed to shop around to find the best deals for a customer that imports from China, but in reality, they often engage with a few factories and select based on how good their relationship is. Basing the choice of suppliers solely on the agent's existing relationship with them means the agent is likely to side with manufacturer more than the importer. When quality issues arise, the agent often negotiates with the importer rather than the manufacturer. When you import from China, quality is usually a top priority on an importer's list. However, although a sourcing agent may be very skilled, they may not necessarily be trained or experienced in quality control and quality assurance. Therefore, the correct quality checks should be carried out. Okay, next chapter we will look at finding the best suppliers from China. See you there. When discussing how to find the best and most reliable suppliers from China, we should focus on two primary questions to find a way in a big ocean. The first question, where should I visit in China? And the second one is which tools I need to use to find the best suppliers. For the first question, I can suggest 3 places for you. So let's look at one by one. Canton Fair. China's most popular and biggest fair is the Canton Fair, which takes place twice a year in Guangzhou, usually during the end of May and the beginning of November. It is one of the largest sourcing trade shows in the world, and it's split into 3 phases. The first phase is for electronics. The second phase covers consumer goods, gifts, and home decor products. And the third phase is about textiles, garments, shoes, and office supplies. The best part of Canton Fair is where you can find suppliers and manufacturers from all over Asia congregate. And you can easily find a vendor that carries what you want to sell or can make what you want to sell. And in addition, all vendors bring samples of what they make so you can touch, feel, and understand is it right or not for you, all the merchandise before purchasing. The second place I want to talk about is the Global Sources exhibitions. Smaller than the Canton Fair, it's a gigantic trade show for factory owners worldwide to assemble twice per year. It takes place in Hong Kong just before the Canton Fair, so you can easily visit both trade shows during the same trip. A few key differences make the Global Sources exhibitions a must-attend event. First, many of the vendors that attend the Global Sources fair are unique. And second, if you are interested in electronics and fashion accessories, you can find many suppliers at this trade show. The other key difference is that Global Sources highly focus on education. During the trade show, you can simultaneously attend a conference that teaches you how to run a successful importing business. Canton Fair Place is 2 hours away from Hong Kong by train, so you can quickly go there. And I advise, if you have enough budget and decide to attend a trade show in China, you can attend both Canton Fair and Global Sources exhibitions on the same trip. Okay, the last place I suggest is Yiwu Wholesale Marketplace. Yiwu is one of the largest wholesale markets in China. You can find various products at meager prices. And Yiwu Wholesale Marketplace is open every day except for certain Chinese holidays. You can physically walk around the shops and look at your desired products. And you can find commodity products at lower prices there. But do not forget, you will find wholesalers in the Yiwu market. They are not manufacturers. So if you have enough budget and decide to travel to China, you should visit those 3 places as an importer. Otherwise, you also have a chance to find the best suppliers by using online tools and platforms. Okay, I will share 2 of them with you. One is commonly known, but I will give you some tips to use it efficiently. And the other one is the secret sauce for my import-export business. So let's start with the first one, Alibaba. Like all search platforms, Alibaba relies on keyword combinations to generate search results. Therefore, I suggest trying multiple variations of keyword when searching for your product. Okay, let's talk about tips to source suppliers on Alibaba. Tip number 1. How many years has the supplier been in business? For products that require a high level of expertise to manufacture, like chest strap heart monitors, you will want a supplier with at least 3 years of experience. Tip number 2. Understand your product specifications, requirements, and any compliance certificates you need for your sales market. It will help you narrow down the list of suitable suppliers. Tip number 3. Make sure they are not a trading company. There are 2 ways that you can check this. First, click on the company profile tab on Alibaba. The businesses type in the primary information column will be listed as either a trading company or manufacturer. Beware that some trading companies will falsify this information and list incorrectly as a manufacturer. The second way to verify is to look at the factory's website and see what products they sell. Trading companies sell many goods across different product categories. Factories will specialize. Tip number 4. Check the transaction level. Tip number 5. Pay attention to the factory location. For example, you don't want to buy electronics from a supplier in Yiwu. Tip number 6. Use the reverse image search feature on Alibaba to track down hard to find products or designs. Tip number 7. Use the assets supplier and gold supplier filters to narrow your list if it is too long. Tip number 8. Don't forget other platforms when sourcing. MadeInChina.com and Google can reveal factories that don't list on Alibaba. Tip number 9. Trade shows are where you will find the real winners. Many of the best suppliers won't advertise themselves on Alibaba because it attracts too many time wasters. Okay, now the time is coming for my secret sauce. Are you ready? Tendata. Tendata is a company based on big data and artificial intelligence focusing on data services in international trade. Their head office is located in Shanghai, China. They have a fantastic service called iTrader that I have been using for my import-export business. Their big data collections include trade data collected from customs, online data, and business data. In addition, they offer real-time monitoring of trade trends and intelligent search of active suppliers and customers, contact information for decisions, and precise delivery of emails. You can use their services to find the right supplier from around the world and in China. And they have a significant advantage in finding suppliers from China because they are located in mainland China. Also, you can use an iTrader to find customers from all over the world. When I search suppliers on Tendata, I can see that suppliers' trade history and statistics, giving me a lot of helpful information. Suppose I want to import products from China to the USA. When I look at the supplier's trade history, I see they have exported to the USA. So it could be an excellent point to contact them because I know they have experience shipping to the USA. Their product is acceptable for the US customs and market. So if you want to use all those features and more, you can check out their services. And I talk with Tendata. When you reach them, if you write my name, Murat Ozturker, they will give you a free 3-month subscription at the same price. You can find the link in the description. Okay, Okay, let's learn how to negotiate price and contract with a Chinese supplier in the next chapter. See you there. Chinese factories are very savvy with negotiations. If you don't come prepared, expect to pay over the odds for your product. I will share the 8 essential steps to get best results in negotiations with Chinese suppliers. Step 1. Only negotiate with shortlisted suppliers. Dealing with suppliers that cannot meet your quality requirements wastes time. Step 2. Do your research. You need to know your product specifications and bill of materials. You need to see the factory and where they are based in China. You need quotes from several factories so you have points of comparison, and you need to understand the production methods for your product. Without this information, you cannot negotiate effectively and lose credibility. Step 3. Form a clear negotiation strategy based on your desired outcomes for the price, lead times, and quality level. For instance, is the price your main concern, or is it crucial that your factory use the materials and components that comply with a standard? Are you willing to pay a slightly higher unit price for a factory with quicker production lead times? Step 4. Understand your factory. Is a relatively new factory willing to offer better pricing and lead times because you will be one of their first customers? Alternatively, it is an established supplier that has high minimum order quantities, a strong base of existing clients, and little interest in your business. Step 5. Negotiate with the right person at the factory. For small and medium-sized factories, it is the best to negotiate with the boss, as they are the primary decision maker and has the final say on whether they can reduce prices below the standard rates. Step 6. Present a good backstory and business case. Gone are the days when every factory in China is dying for your business, no matter the size of your purchase order. By presenting a clear business case, the factory will also understand what you are trying to achieve and what they can do to help. Step 7. Don't forget payment terms when negotiating with your supplier. Step 8. Stick to your goals. Bake in your research, and if you are visiting your supplier to negotiate prices, don't be persuaded by expensive lunches and emotional triggers. I will mention landed costs and working out profitability in the next part. See you there. Your landed pricing are the total costs involved in producing and importing your product from China to your warehouse in your sales market. For e-commerce sellers that import from China, you might also want to include Amazon fees and carrier costs for delivering your product to your customer. Why it is important to calculate your landed costs when importing from China? Working out your landed cost allows you to determine if the profit margins from importing your product are sufficient and sustainable. Landed costs also act as a basis for price negotiation with your suppliers. If your landed costs only allow for a 5% profit margin compared with the lowest selling price in your market, you have probably done a poor job of sourcing and price negotiation. How to work out your landed costs? Accurately calculating your landed costs when you're importing from China can be complicated, but as I mentioned before, it's a step that you should not skip. It is best to base your landed costs on your projected order volumes, not the factory's minimum order quantities. Suppose you base your decision on whether a product is viable on the landed cost of a minimum order quantity trial order. In that case, you might dismiss a product idea that you would work when ordering larger quantities, for example full container. Remember that freight and quality control costs are much lower when spread across a larger quantity of products per unit. You also have more leverage in price negotiation when buying in large quantities. To work out your landed cost, you will need this information: an accurate quote from your Chinese supplier that includes Incoterms, port of loading, product details and pricing, overall packaging size, total cubic meters of order, the currency of quote and shipment type, an up-to-date quote from your freight forwarder and customs clearance agent that includes freight costs from the port of loading to the port of discharge, local charges in the country of import, local duty rates, tracking costs, and local taxes. Your actual currency and exchange rate costs, which are different from the trading price. For simplicity, as we go through the landed cost formula and examples, I assume you are purchasing FOB from your supplier. FOB is the standard Incoterm that most importers from China use. However, if you want to learn about Incoterms, you should watch these videos. The simple landed cost formula is buying price plus freight cost plus local charges plus duty plus taxes. Buying price, cost of product from your factory and cost of quality control inspections and cost of lab tests for product compliance if relevant. Freight costs. Remember that these rates will vary significantly depending on your shipment type and date. Local charges. Port handling charges, documentation, customs clearance, quarantine, marine transit insurance, domestic tracking, and more. Your freight forwarder and customs broker can give you estimates of these costs. Duty. Supply your SH code to your freight forwarder or customs broker. They will give you the rate of duties applicable to the importation of your product. In addition, you can get the SH code for your product from your supplier, government websites, or online search tools. Taxes. You will need to understand your country's relevant local taxes and how they apply to imported goods. For e-commerce sellers, you should also factor in your Amazon or eBay sellers fees, postage and storage fees, and allow for a 1 to 3% write-off for defective products. Alright, then I will explain what you need to do before placing the order to import from China. See you there. Before placing an order to import from China, you should go through a few simple quality assurance steps to minimize the risk of something going wrong. Arrange golden samples. Never commit to starting mass production unless you have undergone sample development and a perfect sample from your factory. Factories often say they will work out the final details or improvements before mass production. They will say, "Don't worry, dear customer, we know what changes need to make and we will make sure it is improved before we start production." You don't agree with this. Instead, it would be best if you had a sample in your hands that exactly matched the requirements you laid out in the specifications you provided to the supplier. The perfect sample is known as a golden sample. The best practice is to arrange 2 golden samples from your Chinese supplier. One piece is to be kept with you for future comparison, and the other one is to be signed with your name and returned to the factory so that they have an in-house reference for quality. If applicable, define your product tolerance limits. When you import products from China, not all products require absolute precision, but many must be produced within a specific dimension tolerance range. It would be helpful if you spend time thinking about whether slight variations in dimensions will impact the usability of your product. Assuming your product requires dimensional tolerance limit, ensure you get feedback from your supplier on whether they can meet these requirements. If the Chinese supplier can meet your request, edit the approved tolerances to your specification and get your supplier's signature on them. By defining tolerances, you have set a relevant quality standard with the factory. You have also done much of the work needed for forming a quality control checklist. Agree to terms with your factory. As I mentioned earlier, factories in China tend to say yes to things for which they have no intention of delivering. To overcome this, you must formalize your requirements into a term sheet and get this signed off by ideally a manager at your factory. Note that this agreement won't hold up in a Chinese court. Still, your expectations must be understood by your Chinese manufacturer. Formalize the agreement into purchase order. The next step is to formalize an agreement with your manufacturer. For most importers, at a minimum, you will need a purchase order drafted by yourself that includes the provisions agreed to in the term sheet. You also need these: your complete contact information, including company name and logo, supplier's complete company information, unique purchase order number and corresponding PO if applicable, purchase order date. List the products by ordered quantity, unit price, and total price. Once you have drafted the purchase order, review it and send send it to your supplier. As mentioned, the Chinese supplier must understand all requirements listed in the purchase order and the terms sheet. Therefore, you need to get confirmation on this before moving ahead. Once you have sent your PO, you will in return receive a pro forma invoice from your supplier. But first, you must verify that all information on the pro forma invoice reconciles with your purchase order. For these documents to be valid, all pages, including attachments, need to be signed by legal representatives of both parties. The factory also needs to stamp each page of the PO and PI, including attachments with their official red seal. Alright my friend, in the next chapter I will explain supplier contracts when importing from China. See you there. Contracts. Do you need one? It's a myth that contracts have no value in China. The legal system in China has come a long way in the past 3 decades, and it is more developed than most imagine. Unfortunately, drafting a contract yourself or by a lawyer not specialized in Chinese business law. An example, your lawyer in the US will render that contract useless in a Chinese court. Okay, let's look at supplier contracts. In this section, I would like to highlight several aspects that cannot be missed in a supplier contract when importing from China. When you purchase from a supplier, in this case the direct Chinese manufacturer, the conversations can take long. Multiple products will likely be discussed and detailed specifications must be shared and confirmed. When specifications are not detailed enough, or if there is room for interpretation, you can end up with a different product than you expected. Similar product can also have slightly different kinds of specifications. When it comes to quality control, you want to have everything in writing and leave no room for interpretation. Often this information will be discussed with one of your representatives, the agent or a factory salesperson. Without all these in clear writing, there is a high risk that someone at the manufacturer will not correctly translate the details to the production manager. Then your product would not go into production according to your needs. The contract does not have to be 100 pages long. Still, it should cover all the necessary details with your desired specifications. Having this on paper allows you to return to this point and point out the information that does not match the product. It would be difficult for the manufacturer to deny the differences between the actual product and what is in the contract about the product. Eventually, the manufacturer wishes to have a smooth repeating business with his customer. Therefore, the supplier would be keen to receive precise instructions and information about the customer's need to prevent trouble after production. Nevertheless, suppose certain information is missing in the contract and the end products are not what the importer intended to buy. In that case, the supplier is not responsible for the missing information. The supplier does not want to be stuck with the products and will move the responsibility to the importer. Okay, let's look at how do you avoid contractual issues when importing from China. Suppose you are using a sourcing company to import from China, based in China and therefore is a Chinese entity. In that case, a contract is a domestic contract, whereby your agent is in a much better position to legally enforce any legal deviation from the contract terms. The supplier is unable to hide his responsibilities. The importer decreases his risks by having the support of the legal system to be able to enforce pressure to resolve any issues. Having face-to-face meetings and inspections at any point will make the manufacturer feel continuous pressure and take your business more seriously. So, what is the point of contracts? Aside from legal protection, contracts have a couple of value adds. These misunderstandings typically take the form of incorrect specifications, packaging design, etc., which leads to the delivery of a quality product. The second value add is that it incentives the factory takes your concerns seriously, whether that is regarding compliance requirements for your product, the level of quality control you will use, penalty clauses for delayed production lead times, and the terms when you will or won't pay the balance on order. Alright, let me explain what type of contract do you need. For most startup importers, a contract is probably unnecessary. Rather than hiring a specialized lawyer, supplier, you are best off putting those funds into purchasing products or marketing. There are two exceptions for when a contract is necessary. When you are purchasing a substantial dollar amounts. When you have an IP that is worth protecting. Suppose either of these 2 points is relevant to your situation. In that case, you should be working with a lawyer specializing in Chinese business law to draft an appropriate contract. Alright, let's consider one of the crucial subjects when you are importing goods from China. That is quality control in China. See you. It is crucial for importers importing from China to understand that production problems must be caught before products are shipped. They also understand that managing product quality is an ongoing process, not a one-off exercise, because even great factories will cut corners eventually to save on production costs. Regular third-party auditing and quality control also incentivize your factory to maintain high standards. If the Chinese supplier knows you are keeping an eye on them, they are less likely to pull the wool over your eyes to make a quick buck. Quality control is there to protect the importer from shipping non-qualified products. A pre-shipment inspection is the most common inspection that an importer will carry out when importing from China. If problems are found, this gives the importer the option to object to pay until issues are solved. You will receive a report with either a pass or fail result, and the goods will not be shipped until you have confirmed and approved the report. It may require another inspection to be carried out if your supplier could not get you the products according to the standards in the quality control report. Okay, let's look at what level of QC do you need. The level of quality control needed when you import from China will vary depending on your business, the product, and market requirements. For most businesses, though, you will need a pre-shipment inspection. Booking in quality control. Quality control is a process that is best outsourced, but unfortunately there are hundreds of quality control companies in China. Some good, some woefully incompetent. Two companies which I recommend with confidence are Asia Inspection and InTouch Quality Control. Alright, let me explain types of quality control. There are different sorts of quality control, we will talk about them, but in general all forms of quality control are to lower your risk as an importer and to ensure that you are importing the right product with the proper specifications. Let's look at the various forms of quality control. Pre-shipment inspection. Pre-shipment inspections are usually performed when production is at least 80% complete or after 100% of the customer's orders. The inspector will check the product's physical appearance, test functions, safety precautions, transport and packing aspects from the randomly selected products. This service determines the overall quality of goods. With knowledge about it, customers may choose to approve or refuse the product's shipping. Mid-production inspection. Like PCI, the inspector checks semi-finished products while the mass products have been manufactured. In addition, mid-production inspection is performed in the stage of 20% to 80% of production. Randomly picked samples or parts are inspected to full function and visual check. This service inspection will closely monitor the process to identify possible problems during production. With these remedies, to make much better production and products themselves may be applied. Container loading check. During this service, the container condition will be examined for transport because a faulty container will put the product at risk of damage. After confirming the container's condition, the inspector will ensure that the respective products, with their quality, quantity, packaging, and marking, meet the specifications provided by the customer before loading. The inspection aims to ensure that ordered goods are loaded correctly and completely. Okay, I will share quality control tips when importing from China. Quality control is different from quality assurance. Quality control will only find defects, deviations, and wrong specifications of the produced goods. It will not correct fundamental design issues and will not fix wrong specifications agreed upon often in the purchase order. How we combine QC and QA. Quality assurance comes into place right before the purchase order has been made. In the quality assurance report, all the details will be presented about the sample product that will go into production once the report and the purchase order have been confirmed. Every detail must be correct before going into mass production. Quality assurance and quality control have different functions and should be used together in the buying process. It is like having checkpoint pre-production that everything is set correctly, followed by a post-production checkpoint to know everything has been produced accurately. Quality control begins with sourcing the right manufacturer. The reason for this is straightforward. If you source the cheapest factory, the manufacturer will produce the lowest quality goods. The manufacturer will use cheaper, lower quality materials to make their margins. Also, the manufacturer might not invest in the factory, so quality can never be high and consistent. In reality, no amount of quality control can improve the production standards of manufacturer. Moreover, the manufacturer might not even be able to improve the quality after production when you have rejected the shipment by the quality control inspection. It would be wrong to assume you can select any manufacturer, apply quality control after the production, and think you will only have quality goods. But unfortunately, it is a common wrong assumption among people who start to import from China. The quality control does not improve quality, but can only reject misspecifications, deviations, and defects. Okay, let's move to the how to ship products from China. See you. Logistics plays a crucial role when you're importing from China. Shipping your goods by container loads is the ideal and cost-efficient way to import your products. Only if the quantities are low and the goods are of small size and low weight could it be viable to ship by air freight. By sea, the total shipping cost will depend on the container size, which will affect your landed unit price of the product. You can import a full container load known as FCL or a less than a container load known as LCL. So let me explain each of them. LCL shipments. If you have a small or sample order, LCL shipments may be the only option. Your goods will travel from the Chinese factory to the port and be loaded into a shared container. When the goods arrive in your country, they will need to be unpacked at the port so your consignment of products can be delivered to you. In reality, this means that your products will be handled by many people who do not necessarily handle your goods at all times with much care. As a result, LCL shipments are notorious for being damaged during transport. Therefore, ensuring that your supplier has packed the goods exceptionally well is crucial when using LCL shipments. FCL shipments. The container will be delivered to the factory when you order a full container load from a manufacturer. Then the factory will load your goods into the container. Once your goods have been loaded into the container and the doors are closed, a seal is put on the container. The seal will not be touched until the container arrives at its destination. Then the importer is the only part allowed to unseal the container if the customs have approved the shipment. It means no one else has handled the goods between the manufacturer and the importer. As long as the container has been loaded correctly and with care, the chance of receiving damaged products will be very little. One final note to new importers is that the import-export process may seem complicated and challenging while importing. However, this is quite easy part of the process. Alright, let's look at customs works when importing from China. After deciding what products to import from China and finding suitable manufacturers, importers are often left wondering about customs clearance. What are the China import duties? How much import duty will I need to pay from China to the USA, Thailand, or any other country? Customs clearance is a crucial part of the process to get it right. If you don't have the correct documentation, you risk having the goods stopped and checked, which will be charged to you. And in the worst case scenario, the goods are seized or taken by customs. Even if you are a new importer, you must recognize that it is your responsibility. No one else's to ensure that you comply with the customs requirements in your country. Who will do the clearance? Generally, you or the exporter will nominate a freight forwarder company. The freight forwarder company, by default, will then do customs clearance when your goods arrive at your local port. As a tip, I would advise, if you are a new importer, to find out who this nominated freight forwarder company is, and you will check with them for any specific legal requirements before goods are shipped. Paperwork. In general, when your shipment arrives in the country, you will need to get a bill of lading, packing list, and commercial invoice from your Chinese exporter. All companies and individuals importing from China must present those documents to your freight forwarder company or customs clearance broker. Those documents will clear customs and arrange for your goods to be delivered to you. I will share a brief version of these documents and their importance from a customs point of view. Bill of lading, also known as BL. Traditionally, this is a document provided by the actual shipping line. It is confirmation that this consignment is on board the vessel. Traditionally, the document was signed by the ship's captain to confirm that your goods are on the boat. The bill of lading acts as the title to the legal owner of the goods. On the bill of lading, there is a shipper and a consignee. The bill of lading also states information about the goods imported from China, like the weight, cubic meter volume, and export and import port. Finally, in simple terms, a bill of lading has two statuses. A bill of lading is either surrenderant or not surrenderant. Once the shipper has collected all the money from the consignee, at that point they will contact the shipping line and release the bill of lading. If the bill of lading is not surrenderant, the goods cannot be cleared through customs. It is done so that the consignee can pay a deposit on goods but not have to pay the balance of goods until they have confirmation from the shipping line that they are on board the boat. Packing list. The packing list tells customs what you have imported, what products, what quantities, and how many boxes. Customs have right to cross-check this information with the information on the bill of lading and the commercial invoice. Suppose there are any discrepancies between any of these documents. In that case, you are going to raise a red flag with customs that something is wrong. Commercial invoice. A commercial invoice is critical from a customs and tax perspective. Importing goods into your country will generally be subjected to tax and duties. Your imported goods will be taxed based on the value of the commercial invoice. You present it to your customs broker, who uses this value to declare values to customs. For example, if your import goods are valued at $10,000 FOB value, you paid $1,000 for freight. The value-added tax is 10% and the duty on your product is 5%. Typically, the calculation will look like this. Okay, my friends, I hope you enjoyed and learned some from this video. Not to mention, if you got to this part of the video, let me know by saying import from China in the comment section, because I want to turn things around for you. Do not forget to check out and join my channel's join features. You can support me, learn new things about the import-export business, and enjoy the privileges. Please do not forget to subscribe to my channel, hit the like button, and share it with your friends and on your social media. If you would like to learn more about international business and marketing, you should watch two videos that will be here a bit later. I appreciate you guys. I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye bye.